Collider. So this is one of the most divergent levels in the game, and I'm really proud of that part. We introduce another android that you're facing off against, but you don't even fight her to start with. It was a really nice way of kind of bringing things full circle, I think.
This level is the bane of many people's existence. I don't think it's unfair to say most people would describe this as possibly the hardest level in the entire game, despite the fact that they might spend longer trying to defeat Medulla because she's just so brutal, and the level itself is so brutal.
I remember actively asking you guys to make it easier because I was finding it so frustrating to get through this level. I think especially when I was trying to S+ it, you know, because that is really, really tricky.
I feel like Licorice has some of the, one of my favorite tracks in the game as well.
Yeah. It's because to me it's like it gets really, I don't know, for the lack of a better word, really video gamey there with and I wanted the guitars to be a sort of this sound of her strength, her power, you know.
Yeah, it comes in really, really well in that semi-boss track style. It's actually a unique track as well because across the game we have whole tracks, boss tracks, which are progressive tracks, and the dynamic tracks, but Licorice is this kind of segmented whole track experience, so I really like that she has her own flavor, her own dynamics that go on there, and the track itself is just killer. It's, yeah, definitely one of my favorites.
I always had this goal of trying to make Licorice work as both an enemy and a playable character, and during development it was so scary. Like, we had contingency plans for if it didn't work out, but in my mind I knew how I wanted it to feel and what I wanted to capture with it.
Yeah, there were many risks associated with this semi-boss battle. The idea of essentially playing a PvP against the AI and making it work, making it fun. Especially because we did a lot of early testing on actual PvP and it was terrible. So
yeah, not the best thing. Which is a big part of why you're fighting Licorice among other robots, and so it's a resource war. You're not trying to beat Licorice. You're trying to outplay it.
I think that leads to some of the more diverse endings to a level as well, because it can actually last infinite amount of time so long as you're both getting batteries. It's entirely down to battery control and no sense of destruction on either player.
Yeah, it's so good though. I like, it's almost teaching people that androids are scary. Like, for the first time you understand what it's like to have an enemy that just doesn't like stop when you knock them down.
When Licorice grabs the first battery from you and you realize that she can collect the batteries, that is terrifying. That is the darkest moment of the entire campaign.
It's so good. I love that we were able to do everything so genuinely. She powers up her main weapon using weapon orbs. She takes power-ups, and she has to keep battery to survive.
But it's still totally fair. That's the important thing about, like, when I talk about the difficulty of this game a lot, I talk about people getting angry or, you know, upset at things, but they tend to stick with it and want to defeat it because the game is never cheating you, and Licorice never cheats you. In fact, if anything, some of the secret mechanics that work behind the scenes allow you to cheat Licorice a little bit when you're fighting over the same battery.
It's slightly stacked in your favor, but yeah. But and she moves around. She plays just like her player avatar counterpart. She's not doing anything too different.
I think that's important, that fairness.
Her cool special ability at the end to when she's finally taken out by her battery running out, that she grabs one last bit of power by destroying all the robots at the end there. I think
there's an interesting thing. The amount of emergency battery she restores is actually based on how many enemies are on the screen.
Yeah.